and this is going to be the explanation of how to do a squat. The purpose of a squat is to activate your glutes, your quads, and your hamstrings primarily. Now you also have secondary for your adductors and your abductors, as well as your erector spinae to help your core to keep yourself upright during a squat. So when you go down, your glutes and your quads are mainly activated, and then when you come up, it's hamstrings and your glutes activated. Now throughout it, you also have your adductors and your abductors. Some will say possibly also your calves, but if your weight is properly on your heels instead of your toes, less of your calves and more of your quads, hamstrings, and glutes. Now depending on what type of squat, you might be also using some other muscles more, as well as your adductors and your abductors. This is also to help your overall core stability, specifically with your erector spinae, as well as your lower half with your glutes, your quads, and your hamstrings. Now, of course, there are other smaller muscles activated, but these are the main muscles that are used for the purpose of increasing your muscles during performing a squat. So, to properly do a squat, I'm going to have him go ahead and do one, and I'm going to walk you through the correct format. So right now his feet are together. That's incorrect. You want to have your feet shoulder width apart. There you go. When you go down into a squat, go ahead down. You do not want to have your weight on your toes. You want to have your weight on your heels. So when you're going down, the majority of everything is on your heels, and you can shift your weight properly. Now turn sideways for me real quick. Thank you. Shoulder width apart. When he goes down, go ahead and pause at the bottom. Good. You see how his knees, they're about 90 degrees? That's perfect. Now if he goes further than his knees, he's going to go into the incorrect form, then have his weight improperly shifted forward possibly. Now if he goes back to the 90 degrees, there you go. He's not only having a 90 degrees at his knees, but hopefully also at his hips. So stand up. When he's going down, he wants to keep his erector spinae where his column is to stay upright as much as possible. Not everybody can do this quite the same, but we're trying to keep it upright for as long as possible before he starts leaning forward a little bit. All the while he wants to keep his eyes upwards, trying to help with that movement. So go ahead and go down again. Good. Now his eyes are up. His erector spinae is hopefully trying to stay upright. Now everybody's going to be slightly different. His hips and his knees, both his joints, are going to be around a 90-degree angle, keeping proper angles. So when he's going squatting, go ahead and do 3 of them for me. He's going ahead and moving correctly through everything. He's keeping his arms out here. Now if this was a weighted squat, his arms would be by his shoulders holding a bar. That sometimes some people believe that helps hold your weight a little bit more in correct form. Now either way, he's doing this correctly with his shoulders, his hips, and his knees all in alignment as much as possible with his weight on his heels. This has been my explanation on how to properly do a squat. Thank you. I want to point out 2 more points real quick on how to improve your squat. So real quick, Frankie, go ahead. So right now his weight is over his toes, which is improper, as well as when you do that, oftentimes your knees are going to go over your toes. In order to correct that, you bring your weight back on your heels, and hopefully your knees will follow. You do not want your knees to cross over in front of your toes. So when he goes down, his knees are in the center of his feet or at the front, but not over his toes. His weight is on his heels. Now, one other thing I want to point out is when I'm talking about keeping your back upright and straight, this is upright and straight for him. If I were to do this, my back looks a little bit straighter. Not everybody is built the same, and not everybody's squat's going to look the same. But as long as you're trying to perform it the same and as correctly as possible, then everybody should be okay. Real quick, Frankie and I are going to do 5 squats side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. Face that way. All right, ready? And down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Last one. All right, just to conclude and do the overview of the step-by-step on how to perform a squat, we're going to go step-by-step through the procedure. So step 1, go ahead and shoulder width apart, put your weight on your heels. Good. Step 2, going to have your eyes up, your shoulders back, and try and keep your back as straight as possible. Now step 3, you're going to have squat down, stopping at a 90-degree angle at your knees as well as your hips. Now, again, not everybody can perform a 90-degree angle at their hips. Some people have to lean forward. That's just how everybody is made. But we try and keep a 90-degree angle. Now, step 3, you're going to bring up. Through that, you're going to use your glutes and your hamstrings to push up trying to keep your glutes squeezed tight as well as your recti spinae squeezed to help with stability and keeping your back straight. That is going to be the 4 steps on how to perform a squat. This has been my explanation on how to properly do a squat. Thank you very much.
Outstanding.